What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Always Compete Seahawks podcast. I'm Sam. I'm going to be all by myself tonight, but we have a fun topic. Me and Mike were going to make a Baker Mayfield video. This is being recorded on Wednesday, July 13th at 9:56 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you live above a rock, you know that Baker Mayfield in that period has since been traded to the Carolina Panthers before me and Mike could hop on that Baker Mayfield to the Seahawks train that would have probably gotten a lot of views. We missed out. So Baker Mayfield gets sent to the 49ers for what was essentially peanuts. Like, it was seriously nothing in return. And I mean, a conditional 2024 fifth round pick that turns into a fourth round pick if he plays a certain amount of snaps or something. That is ridiculously cheap, especially if you're getting a starting quarterback. And that really surprised me because I expected the Seahawks to have heavy interest, assuming that the overall asset that you would need to send wasn't going to be a lot. I thought the Browns were going to ask for a third and a fourth round pick at the lowest that could maybe become a third with some conditions. And I didn't want to pay that price for a quarterback that, frankly, I don't think we need. I know that quarterback is a need, but when you look in the grand scheme of things, I feel like, especially after last year, most people will put Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield and Drew Lock all in a similar region. And at that point, do you really want to be giving assets for a quarterback that isn't much of an improvement over the quarterbacks that you already have on the roster? So when we're talking about, you know, what are the possibilities with Jimmy G, which immediately became the talk of the NFL after Baker Mayfield was traded. Where's Jimmy G going to go now? You got to think about it. What's Jimmy G going to do when you're talking about, you know, the last team that really needs a quarterback is the Seahawks, and Jimmy G is the last quarterback that needs to be traded. It seems like the stars align. I'm going to be breaking down in this video the outline of the situation, and in a future video, I'll be talking about my opinion, whether we should or should not trade for Jimmy G. And let's talk about the basic outline. Jimmy G was traded from the Patriots to the 49ers in a move at the trade deadline a couple of years ago that was frankly a stunner. Jimmy G had shown a lot of upside as the Patriots backup. He was picked in the second round. A lot of people saw him as the heir to the Patriots quarterback when Tom Brady was going to retire. What we didn't know is that Tom Brady was going to have a total career resurrection post 2014. He'd win, 3 more Super Bowls in between that period, and the Patriots would be the best team of the decade. So that really was unexpected. And now, of course, Tom Brady's still playing at 45. So Jimmy G quickly became a hot commodity around the NFL. Many people thought he wasn't going to get traded until, I believe, the 2017 trade deadline, where the 49ers acquired him, I believe, for a second-round pick. And that was really big because immediately, I remember 2017 or 2018, I believe it was 2017, Jimmy G comes in the last 5 games of the season, and the 49ers go 5-0 in those last 5 games. And immediately, the hype around San Francisco got really huge. And, of course, Jimmy G has since then started he got hurt in 2018 towards ACL, barely played. So I'm not really going to count that. But from 2019 to in 2020, he also was pretty banged up. But in 2019, 2021, and 2022, in 2019 and 2021, Jimmy G was their starting quarterback. Both of those years, they went to the NFC Championship, or later, more specifically in that 2019 season, ended up going to the Super Bowl where they lost to the Chiefs. I mean, Jimmy G now, obviously, the writing's on the wall. Trey Lance is taking over that job. It's kind of undoubtable at this point. Even if Jimmy G outperforms Trey Lance in camp, which could happen, you never know. I mean, Jimmy G is kind of slept on as an overall talent. The guy was seen as one of the greats, as one of the upcoming greats in the NFL, really, for those couple of years, like that was 2015, 2016, 2017. He was really seen as one of the top up-and-coming quarterbacks in the NFL. People kind of sleep on his talent. He's just kind of had flashes where you're like, Jesus, what is this guy doing? Jimmy G is going to be gone. He's going to be on a new team most likely. Now, I feel like the odds of him playing for the Seahawks, unless he is released, which we'll talk about the possibility in a minute, are extremely low. The 49ers will not, unless they get an offer they can't refuse, which I doubt the Seahawks will get when they've consistently said they will not add at the quarterback position. They feel like they're done. They feel like they're set. why would the Seahawks give up major assets, which you will take for the 49ers to really willingly give him up to the Seahawks, an in-division rival and arguably their biggest rival of the last decade? You're talking about, why would the Seahawks give him up, knowing that Pete Carroll can sometimes create an aura around a team and have them kind of go on a little bit of a run? Why would the 49ers even think about giving them a chance? Even if the Seahawks are not likely to succeed with Jimmy, why would the 49ers even give them a chance to succeed? I don't see it. I really don't see it. You want to get those easy 2 games. I think they'd rather keep Jimmy G on their roster as backup than give him to the Seahawks, frankly, for any assets. I don't think it's very likely. And I'm going to touch on the fact that I just brought up. The Seahawks really aren't looking to add at quarterback. I don't think that the Seahawks are or feel that they're in dire need of a quarterback. They acquired Drew Lock for a reason. They trust him to play that quarterback position. They brought back Geno Smith and have talked about him and have kind of given him a leadership role in the last couple of weeks for a reason. They trust Geno Smith. They like what they have there. They are currently running a 3-way quarterback competition when it's really a 2-way quarterback competition between Geno and Drew Lock. They think those guys are capable. I don't think that they're rushing to give assets up to a division rival to add a quarterback who, yes, is in a different it's certainly on a different category than the guys that you already have, but will he make you a championship contender? I don't think the Seahawks feel that way. Frankly, I don't see this happening through a trade at all. I don't see it happening at all. The Seahawks are reluctant to give up assets for players. I feel they've really only given up assets for players, twice since I've been like 3 times since I've been a Seahawks fan. They traded for Percy Harvin with the first, traded for Jimmy Graham with the first, and Max Unger, and traded for Jamal Adams with 2 firsts. After that, the Seahawks have been very reluctant to give up big trades to teams. And by the way, all 3 of those moves happened in the last 8 years. So think about all the big moves that have happened in the NFL, and considering that Percy Harvin really isn't that big of a move, only getting him for a first, it's really not a massive move, especially considering that move was like 29 or something, that pick. Anyways, the point that I'm making is that I don't think the Seahawks are rushing to give up assets for a quarterback that they don't feel that they need. And I don't think the 49ers are rushing to give up a quarterback to a team that, why would you even give them a chance? Even if you don't think they're going to be good, why would you even give them a chance to compete in your division and maybe play good games against you? You know that if he goes to the Seahawks, Jimmy G is going to be on a revenge train for the 49ers all year long. Why would they even risk that happening? Now, for the release aspect, this is where it gets interesting, because there is the possibility that with there really not being a major quarterback hole besides the Seahawks in the NFL right now, the 49ers, Jimmy G is going to want out. He's going to want out. He's making a lot of money, and he's not going to want to sit on the bench behind a second-year guy who, frankly, hasn't shown why he should be starting yet. I feel like Jimmy has that kind of feeling to him where he's thinking, why is Trey Lance starting over me? Did I just bring you guys to the NFC Championship last year? He played in games last year where he, frankly, did not look great. And I feel like the only reason why they're playing him is because he was 3rd overall pick, not because they're necessarily more confident in him. And the 49ers have said that they are reluctant to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. If Jimmy decides to just be like, hey, I demand a release. I will not play for this team. I'll hold out for the entire season. I don't care. Just get me out of here. If it does come to that and the 49ers decide, all right, we just have to cut ties with this, the Seahawks then become a real possibility. The Seahawks have a good amount of cap space. I believe top 10 in the NFL. I think we're seeing around $15 million. If I had to take a guess, I think it's in that mid-teens range. And I mean, I think that the Seahawks could offer up a really enticing idea to Jimmy Garoppolo, saying, you're going to play in an offense where you don't have to be the star. You're the game manager. We can offer you an incentive-heavy contract. You're going to be able to play your former team twice a year, try to prove them wrong. And listen, this entire team is doubting you. This entire league is doubting us, and they're doubting you. Now, do you want to come here and play for a coach that talks about always competing and is a noted player's coach? I think that's an enticing package to a guy like Jimmy G who will be cut at that point. Now, frankly, if I had to put a percentage on the odds I think Jimmy G will be a Seahawk by next season, I'm gonna have to say like maybe like 5%, 10% chance. I don't think it's likely at all. I think that when you just really connect the dots, it doesn't make much sense for either team. Well, not necessarily doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem like it's very likely for either team that they're going to be rushing to give either Jimmy G to the Seahawks and then the Seahawks to give pretty big assets to the 49ers. That's just my take on it. I will be giving my official opinion on whether I think the Seahawks should do this, whether I think the Seahawks should push for it in another video. But until then, thanks for watching. Subscribe, check out the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and see you next time. Peace.